back. This is Because Liberty with Curtis Hart and Chris Bornstedt.
How you doing?
Text message from a guy named Tony Stiles. He has a Liberty show.
Where is his Liberty show out of?
I think L.A.
L.A. But
his text message was about him moving to Cambodia, and I'll just go ahead and read the message right quick.
But why?
I'm telling you, that's totally in the text message.
Totally in the text message.
So it says, hey, not sure if you've heard, but I'm moving to Cambodia in December to help end human trafficking and teach journalism at an international school. Cambodia has the highest rate of human trafficking of women and children for slavery than any other country. Every year, more than 500,000 women and children are trafficked for slavery. As you know, I believe all people should be free. Slavery is the biggest crime against freedom in the world. I am setting up an email newsletter to tell people about my journey, struggles, and hopeful success. Could you give me your email address so I can send it to you? Also, I'll be broadcasting my radio show from Cambodia while there.
Where are these women being smuggled out of the country? Are they being brought to the United States?
It's saying 500,000 women a year, and if that number is like even remotely accurate, they'd have to be bringing in women out of the country, because you can't be stealing 500,000 women out of the country every year.
Yeah, but those countries have way more people than we do.
Yeah, still, dude, 500,000 people a year, they're not coming from just in that country. Plus, that country's small. It's like the size of the state of Georgia or some shit.
He's going to Cambodia, and he's gonna, like, what? What does he want you to do for him, Chris? Why did he text you?
He wanted my email address.
Oh, he wanted your email address. For what?
For updates on his shit to Cambodia. He already has my email address.
So he wants you to promote this.
He didn't say that.
Well, that's kind of what he's hinting at.
I promoted it myself.
Right. So you're promoting.
I follow him on Facebook, and I've messaged him a few times. Like, we contacted him to speak at our state convention.
Oh, yeah.
But we had a shit budget for that, so we couldn't fly him out.
That's terrible.
We spent the money on that guy that sold all the crack. Who was that?
The guy.
Freeway Ricky Ross.
Yeah, something like that. Why didn't we have him come and speak again?
Because he's an expert on the fucking failed war on drugs.
Well,
he's like, you want to know about the war on drugs? Here's all you need to know. I sold crack for the CIA. They used the money to fund fucking Contras down in...
Sure.
Yeah.
They would call those black ops.
Yep, that kind of shit happens. I mean, they need money for the fucking black ops, and so what do? They flood the streets.
Our government doesn't do stuff like that, Curtis.
Our government totally does stuff like that.
No, stop it.
I'm here to tell you. Our government absolutely does stuff like that.
No.
Like, anything that you can think of, our government can fucking do, because our government's made out of people, and they're just like us.
How do we blame Hillary Clinton for this?
How do we blame Hillary Clinton for this? Well, I mean, she's a witch, like Tucker pointed out last week.
Did you see that they hired somebody to make her a person?
Yeah.
Some shit like that.
Dude,
you can't do it.
She's out.
She's elite. She's the top 1%.
I think her shit's done.
I hope so. I think the Clintons might be finally done.
Yeah. Like, everybody's got a boner over Sanders.
Well, you know, he's not that...
Except for the real...
I don't want to say too much bad about Sanders, because I have a lot of friends that like him.
Yeah, I've got tons of friends that are all constantly like... Every time I see somebody posting a Sanders post, I post a fucking Austin Peterson post.
I hate to fucking tell you this, Curtis, but all my other friends are going, vote Trump!
Yeah, those guys are all fucking idiots. Seriously. I know one person who talks about Donald Trump that I don't think is a complete clown. Everybody else that I've heard talk about Donald Trump, I'm just like, I just fucking quit talking to him. I just walk off. I'm like... He
sounds like, you know, he might be the guy. I mean, there's just no...
Might be the guy. Like, Herman Cain was the fucking guy.
Well, you know,
They're just joke candidates. So the fucking GOP parades around and let's talk to get the stupid people riled up.
Right. These guys, you know, these politicians, like, I can't figure them out. Like, when Joe Biden and Barack Obama ran in 2007, 2008, you know, for the 2008 election, when Barack Obama was announcing who his vice president was, and I can't figure out how these guys get away with that, but it was the weekend that they were going to name who his vice president was going to be. They were going to name Joe Biden. But Joe Biden went to his home on Friday, and he had all of his family come out, right? And all the media was outside his house, and he's talking to the media, and they're like, well, you're going to be the next... He's going to say you're the next, you know, you're going to be the vice presidential candidate nominee, right? He's like, no, I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy. It's not me. Okay? All fucking weekend long, he said that. It's not me. It's not me. And then come Monday morning, guess what? It was him.
Yeah.
I mean, how can they get away with... I mean, to me, those were lies. They directly asked him if he was going to be the nominee.
Maybe he didn't know it then.
Oh, fuck, come on. He invited his family there. The media was camped around his house. He knew he was going to get asked. He was lying, dude. I mean, the guys lie. These guys lie, and they get away with it.
Yeah, I mean...
Why don't people hold them accountable?
Because they're idiots.
What is it? I mean, I can't figure it out.
Because most people are asleep and they're fucking idiots. They don't give a shit. They're like, oh my god.
And then they get away with it. I mean, Joe Biden, fucking, he's
Barack Obama. Nobody gave a shit about Obama. They're about fucking Biden. He's an idiot.
Well, you don't understand. If Biden... He's
a buffoon.
He could be the nominee. Gorilla. Because if Clinton doesn't make it, they don't want Sanders. Sanders isn't going to win. There won't be enough. I mean, fuck. There's no way. The Republicans, they'll stop that in a heartbeat.
You probably thought the same about fucking Obama.
Screw that guy.
No, there's no way Obama can win, and yeah, he totally won.
Well, that's because they, I mean,
the banks really don't want Sanders winning, so like I don't really see Sanders winning. But he claims to be all like, oh, we're going to reform the banks, but like
who?
Sanders.
Yeah, no, they're all none of them are going to do that.
They're all authoritarian in nature, and so I just see
tell us
them
what we want to hear
allowing this socialist to run our fucking country's bill just sky high to the banks, which is what would end up happening. Like I heard that his shit's been like $17 trillion or some crap like that. I don't really know. I mean, honestly, I don't pay too much attention to what the socialists have to say.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not like I don't give a fuck. It's like when certain people at work talk, and they come up and they tell stories, I'm just like, cool story, bro. I don't give a shit about...
It's like these people that...
anything you're saying.
Oh, but we have to do this.
No, we don't. Heard these kids in class talking today about taxes, and... I sit in front of a cop, in front of one of the Kelso police, in my math class.
Oh, yeah?
And our police chief is my teacher for criminal justice.
Yeah.
He's actually a good teacher. Like, one of the first things I heard him talk about was how it's totally legal to film the police. Just don't get in their way. I've heard a lot of really great things for liberty come out of the guy's mouth in the criminal justice class.
Doesn't mean he practices it when he's out on the...
He said that like all his police officers know that it's like completely legal to film them. So, and when he talks about stuff, he mentions if it's like that's a thing at the department down there. So we're gonna have DOC come and speak to us. Was it tomorrow? Yeah. Tomorrow DOC is going to be coming speaking to the class. And,
to who is? DOC?
Yeah, a DOC officer. I can't remember what the DOC officer's name is. Let me ask my buddy. What's the DOC officer's name? I know you're listening, and I know you know his name. Because you just love the guy. We went to high school with him.
Who did?
But Brad Phillips, that's his name.
I know?
No, the guy that I was asking what his name was. So, yep, I'm pretty sure that's his name. Brad Phillips is going to be in our class tomorrow. My buddy just loved that guy. Let me tell you what. So, our show's not going to be all that long tonight because it took us an hour and a half to set the station up, but now we got our own station, so we'll come up with a station name.
Liberty.
Liberty.
Of course. I mean, it has to have something that says Liberty in it.
Yeah.
It says, hashtag because Liberty. But no, I mean, we'll think of something cool. We'll come up with something.
We will. More than likely, Liberty is going to be in the title.
More than likely.
It'll have something to do with being free. So, what else did we want to talk about? We wanted to talk about Donald Trump being an asshat.
A
lot of the things that Donald Trump talks about is like, he talks about building a wall in Mexico, and he talks about gathering up a group of a certain religious sect in our country and rounding them up and doing something with them, which, how are you going to round them all up? What are you going to ship him out on trains. Like, I've heard this story before. He sounds like fucking a Nazi.
Nazi?
Yeah, sounds like a Nazi. Donald Trump is like a Nazi in nature.
Really?
Yes, he's like uber fucking patriotic, or he pretends to be. While he ships jobs overseas, he pretends to be super patriotic. Kind of a socialist. He uses the government to fucking file bankruptcy, and I'm sure he gets subsidies up the butt.
Lots of people use the government to
file bankruptcy. Yeah, it's wrong. It's theft. Like, plus, it's such a pain in the ass, but not for people like Donald Trump, because he's got lawyers that can fill out the paperwork. I tried to fill out paperwork to file bankruptcy once, and I saw the paperwork and the questions involved, and I was just like, forget it. I'll just pay my bills. Like, I'll pick out a bill a month, because it was going to still cost me, like, a bit of money to file bankruptcy, which is fucked. You can pay a lawyer a certain amount of money to get rid of all your bills. And in my case, like, I wasn't that much in debt. It would have been worth it, but not to fill out all that fucking paperwork and do all that stupid shit. They want you to, like, list every dollar that you've given anybody in, like, the past 10 years, including gifts. And that's, like, so rich people can't just, like, hide all their money to their family before they file bankruptcy. But it was a pain in my ass, so I just figured we'd just pay the bills. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of rambling about bills because you're all just typing. What are you typing?
I'm complaining about the shelter some bitch that thinks it's one of those wonderful places that everybody needs to go to. Because they do wonderful fucking things, and that guy that runs the place walks on water. Sorry. You get these fucking whacked out people online that fucking absolutely have no clue about what actually goes on there.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to bring that into your Donald Trump rant.
I love how people are constantly like, have you ever been down to the shelter?
Yes, we've been down to the shelter.
I've been to the shelter. I checked in as a resident without giving a name. That should tell you a lot about the safety issues that apparently they've changed. Which I haven't heard too much coming out of Overwhelming except for the fire. They had a fire or something like that. You said somebody pulled a fire alarm. Was there a fire? You're like, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, they were spraying deodorizer and shit
fuck
like that.
You.
In the fire alarms. Another $1,300 down the drain. Depending on how many trucks they sent up, it could be more. But anyway, so the other thing you wanted to talk about was the high-speed chase that went through our neighborhood this evening. Apparently, it went on in my front yard. And
Word. It happened
my neighbor's yard.
In my front, not my front yard, but down my street.
All the sheriffs all over the place in my neighborhood. It was pretty
Word on the street was dude came tearing ass around the corner on Williams.
Yeah.
Drove down like as fast as he possibly could. Apparently, Genius didn't realize that this was a dead end. So
it's not really a dead end. I mean,
where he was, where he went all the way down to the bottom of the end of the street.
Yeah, and then he came back.
Clearly, it's a fucking dead end. Like, you don't even need the sign to tell that that's a dead end. Like, you can see the end of the road.
Right, you can see the freeway up on the hill.
Yeah, you can tell that there's no road.
Right. So he went all the way down by the storage unit.
And then he, no, not by the storage unit. It was on my street, on Williams.
Yeah, but I thought he drove through the houses.
He did. He busted down Williams, did some cookies so he could turn around.
Yeah.
Because he's just a Grand Theft Auto guy.
Right.
And then busted out on Maple. When he got onto Maple, he was like tearing ass, and there was like a cop parked up the street from your house, and he decided to just mob through people's yards and went through 3 of your neighbors' yards.
Yeah, he did. He
almost hit a house.
Up, dude.
Almost hit a house. You could see the tracks through the people's yard. He came probably maybe a foot to or less than a foot from slamming into the house, and then you could see the tracks that go back out on the road. Then he parked down at the end of your street and took off, and
yeah, shootings.
Fuck, there was a big shootout. There was a huge shootout. Fucking ATF was there. No, they just caught the guy.
Yeah, no, they got him.
Your neighbors were like, did they catch him? I'm like, if they didn't catch him, your neighborhood would be on lockdown.
Yeah. I should have turned my scanner on, but at that point, I just didn't give a shit. I got a new TV, and so I was watching something cool. 65 inches of wonderful.
So
can't wait for the football game.
I went down there and talked to the sheriff deputies that were down there dealing with the situation, and they said the guy had stolen a vehicle. So, I mean, is that
yeah,
apparently is
Grand Theft Auto. Up to the cops while they're all down there. There's like 20,000 of them. You just walk out. What the fuck's going on?
What's going on here? No,
Let me tell you, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They're like, here comes like, Curtis Hart.
You think they'd be like, move along now.
Move along. No, they see the hat.
They know.
And they're like, oh, this guy's going to come ask questions and fucking, he probably knows his rights.
Has the chief said anything nice to you, since you've been in class? Has he talked to you about anything? Does he remembers who?
Oh, he knew who it was. Like, when I sat down in my seat, he looked right at me and said, hello, Mr. Hart.
Was he surprised to see you there? Maybe he wants to hire you as a cop down the road or something. No?
Probably not.
Well,
I did write an apology letter to that cop that I went off on.
Oh, you did? I stayed away from that issue because I wasn't sure what the fuck was going on. And really, I didn't have time. Something about you yelling at the bridge and people yelling at you.
We went on a neighborhood watch, and somebody started telling me that they started threatening me when I was on the bridge. I stopped over at Northwest 3rd, like right above.
You're looking down on them, I take it, right?
Yeah, actually, we weren't even looking down on them at that point. We were facing the other direction, and they started talking shit. Started asking me how much my life was worth to me, and told me to keep walking, and then they started whistling at me, and I'm like, what? Are you talking to me?
You guys whip my ass, huh? You want some of this?
I'm like, are you guys talking to me? And they're like, why are you standing up there? And I'm like, 'cause I'm having a cigarette.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, I've lived here for years, and I've never seen anybody stop there. And I'm like, I can stop where the fuck I want. It's a public street.
I'm just writing down license plate numbers and addresses.
Yeah. I'm just up here spying on you fucking tweakers.
Don't look now, but we got a drone over there watching, too.
My buddy's got a drone. I told him we totally should go fucking fly it over fucking Northwest 3rd.
Oh, dude.
My buddy's got this drone, dude. He said that it's like, his dad has a drone. It's like this big.
Yeah.
Okay, and he said that it gets so far up in the sky that it's that big.
That's awesome, dude.
Okay, so people that are listening can't see the symbol I'm making, but I'm basically taking my fingers together and making a box that's like a half of an inch.
Well, the way I'm looking at it looks like a little diamond, but okay.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. A diamond or a box.
Right.
So yeah, it goes way fucking high up in the air. You can fly it around for like 15, 20 minutes. It can go 4 miles, and it can sustain like 30-mile-an-hour winds.
I told the Department of Fish and Wildlife that they need to use drones to track the elk, the sick elk and shit like that. It's like, well, the governor keeps vetoing the bill. I said, yeah, I know, it sucks.
Yep, that's because the governor sucks.
So, yeah, that's right. We aren't going to see eye to eye on governor candidates yet because we don't know who all's running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so who's running?
Stephen Nelson is running.
I have not heard that from him at all.
Well, it's because he's busy being the chairman of the party this year.
Well,
so
you have to understand that if you're going to run for governor, you should have announced it like a while ago and been fundraising. And
it has been.
I have seen
in a sense, he's the chairman of our state party. He's doing that shit right now.
Right.
When we go as a state party to our convention and he announces that he wants to be the fucking libertarian candidate in Washington as governor, that's when we decide who it is. And since we're libertarians, Chris, big L libertarians.
Well, this Daniel Bryant guy's looking okay.
Is he a libertarian? Then
I don't know. I'll have to go over his voting record as court commissioner.
Do you know who I'm running against in the fire commissioner race? I don't know his name. His name doesn't matter because the only name that you need to know for fire commissioner is Curtis J. Hart. And the only name that you need to motherfucking know for governor of Washington in 2016 is Stephen Nielsen.
Stephen Nielsen.
Yes. So, what was the name that you just mentioned? I don't care.
His signs are going up all over in Kelso County on the freeway.
Fucking signs.
Just saying. Uh-oh. Your buddy Trump just said that he'd send the refugees back to Syria.
Of course he would, because he's a dick.
Did you see the ones that are getting off the boat?
I don't give a shit. They're people.
Oh, come on.
Running away from fucking craziness.
Why do we have to take them all?
We don't have to take them all.
Well,
why do we need to, tell people where to go and where to not go? People should be allowed free egress without government control. It's on you where to go, where not to go, asking for your papers like a fucking Nazi. I like making comparison to Nazis. I also like, when I make comparisons, I like to make the most extreme comparison that I can think of to show how stupid the original idea was. What was it that I was talking to my wife about some shit? I can't remember what it was, but I made this really good comparison. And these slurred words are brought to you by Jim Beam Honey.
Yeah, it's pretty good whiskey, man.
Got a fifth of this Jim Beam.
That's some of the stuff that I bought you last week with your little C-3PO thing.
Yeah.
And it was so good, and it tasted so good with Coke that I had to buy
a
a bottle in Oregon because, Washington State Liquor Control and Cannabis, Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board.
Does the free market raise the shit out of motherfuckers?
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, they're pissed off that they couldn't have alcohol anymore, so, they decided to tax the shit out of it. Where you going? Yeah.
Oh, just opening the door while I have a cigarette.
Smoker.
Yes, I smoke because I can.
Do you club baby seals too?
I would throw some around. I fucking wore that shit on my feet like some slippers. Can you imagine how absolutely comfy baby seal slippers would be?
Really?
I try to imagine all the time when I'm thinking about clubbing baby seals. Curtis Hart, fire commissioner, comes to.
So, what exactly will you do as fire commissioner, Curtis?
Well, just like any other public office, they vote on budgets and policy. That's all. That's any public office that's all I can tell that they do, except for Ryan.
How many fire?
RJ's job is different. All the other public, and the stupid judges.
How many fire districts do we have? Did you get it? Ooh, cat-like reflexes.
I did.
Killed a moth.
Caught it out of the sky like Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, there were no chopsticks involved.
That was chopsticks.
So how many fucking fire districts do we have in Collins County, do you know?
I don't know.
There's quite a few. Sure. Then they're like 10 or something.
The only ones you need to worry about is 2, and the only name that you need to worry about in the Cal's 2 fire district race is Curtis Hart. Oh,
yeah.
There you go. Okay. We should have my opponent on here sometime.
I don't know who your opponent is.
I don't either. The name doesn't matter, because the only name that you need to remember in the fire 2 College 2 fire district race is Curtis J. Hart.
Isn't that a non-partisan position?
It is a non-partisan. See, and here's the great thing about this non-partisan race is that my opponent was described by the fire chief as the biggest anti-government guy or small government guy. I can't remember exactly what he said, but
there's another candidate.
I was asked by some people from their county's RLC, like, why I picked that guy, because they're like, why'd you pick that guy? He's a small government guy. Like, he's a good guy. Why'd you pick him to run against? And I was just like, I just picked the guy that has been there the longest. That's the only, you've been there the longest.
You have to do it by district? Like, you live in this district, so you have to run for this position?
No, it's open up to, everybody in the fire district.
So, let's talk about the other libertarian that's in a race around in our area. You know there is another one, right?
What do you mean?
Is there another libertarian running for a different race in College County elections this next time?
We do in another nonpartisan race, but the person that's running against him is a write-in candidate, so good luck on that, dude. You have even less of a chance of winning as a write-in candidate than you do as a libertarian on the ballot.
You do know that the write-in campaign is being run by some of the Democratic Central Labor Council committee to try to block him from being elected, right?
Did they find out that he's a libertarian?
Well, they found out.
Because he didn't come with us to that meeting.
Find out that he knows us and hangs out with us. And you know that they don't want any of our people in power because we won't put up with their let's support druggies and fucking child molesters and shit like that.
Well, that doesn't really matter for the school district race. Because we're talking about Robert Gibbs, and the only name that you need to worry about is Robert Gibbs. The only name on the ballot, because he's the only person that signed up on time.
Anyway, the people that are running against him, I spoke to whoever runs the Calhoun County, labor site, and I said,
that position could have been mine.
Yeah.
But I decided to give it to a better guy than me, with more education and just more life experience and better. I think, I'll just go ahead and say, Robert Gibbs is a better person than I am. That's why I decided to fucking push him into the position.
I tried to talk them out of running.
But I totally could have done it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine me on, the school board?
They said that they wanted to. See, I talked to the labor council people on the website that are doing because they're looking for somebody.
They totally use my picture for their rally.
Yeah, that's what she kept saying. So you need to talk to them because I talked to them. I said, listen, you guys are putting out there that you guys want change in the school district. But yet you guys are running a candidate, writing candidate against a guy that's not an incumbent, who's not from government, who would give you guys change. I said, you guys need to run your writing candidate against some of the guys that are in there now that you don't like because of what they're doing or, you know, what they aren't.
Yeah, because this position was open.
So when they said that they weren't going to do that, then we knew, then I knew right then and there that they were running this to block Gibbs from getting elected. By the way, which I saw him at the grocery store the other day and talked to him a little bit about.
Yeah, I saw him at school the other day.
So they don't want any of us in power anywhere.
That's great. Because we're going to win that fucking election. Because you know what? We did?
You know how the Democrats
we did the legwork. We went to the meetings. We talked to some people who said we ain't even running. Because he decided he was going to run against somebody else. And the guy was like, why'd you pick my seat? She's not even running.
Right.
Run against her. It's a lot easier to run against nobody.
Right.
Which is basically what he's doing. Because the Democrats didn't sign up to run anybody.
No.
And they're just like, oh, let's do a writing candidate.
Yeah, so now they're gonna use their Democratic union labor force.
Good luck with that.
You
know how much people are reading now?
The teachers are on board with this writing campaign too, and that's what's kind of scaring me. Because
how many signs has this guy got up? The election's next month.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I hope Rob wins.
He will win. He's the only person on the fucking ballot.
They'll write it in. There's a write-in candidate.
Dude, I bet you they don't get more than 15% of the vote.
As long as
I'm calling that now. Write-in candidate ain't getting more than 50% of the vote. As
long as Mike Karnofsky is in power in this county, I don't trust that guy as far as I can throw him. Okay? I don't trust him. Somebody call?
No. There's no way that the fucking writing candidate is going to win.
What's the last guy's name? I know you don't want to, talk about what the guy's opponent's name is, and I can't remember it is.
We're not saying his name on the air.
But we just hope that it's a hard name to spell.
Yeah.
Because it has to be spelled correctly.
Yeah.
You cannot make a mistake. So if you got Commissioner Karnofsky up there looking at these election ballots going, I don't know about this one.
Dude, we're totally going
wrong. He can't count that.
We can be there and witness the...
We have to watch it from the TV out in the other room.
Yeah. Daniel,
Adina, Lee, and myself, we all went and watched the final ballot count for, Adina's race, which if people say, you hear somebody say your vote doesn't count, it does. Adina lost by 5 votes. I still can't figure out how she lost because by the numbers that I was playing with, she should have been within like 1 or 2 votes. It shouldn't have been 5. So
it's still fucking close.
Either way, 5 votes to lose an election by 5 votes. Every vote does matter. Your vote matters.
Your vote might not matter at the national election level or the federal level.
I know
but
3
at the local
people.
level.
I know personally.
But
people
to
that
say
were
that
supposed to vote for Adina and they didn't. They didn't vote at all because they forgot. I mean, she could have. Yeah, I mean, it's just all this stuff. You find this stuff out later.
Yeah. Leave that shit to yourself.
And now the city of Kelso
If you forgot to vote for somebody that lost a slim election, that's basically a fucking tie.
Don't tell people.
Don't tell people that you just
shit
out fucking somebody.
And now it looks like the city of Kelso is going to elect this Nancy Malone lady who's just a terrible fucking candidate. So terrible that she doesn't work for the city of Kelso anymore because she couldn't cut the mustard.
That's not what I heard. She said that she didn't like the fucking city manager, and we don't like the city manager that much either.
What? I don't have anything currently against the city manager.
Not currently, but he's the city manager, and he's not
elected. It doesn't matter. She should not be running for revenge. That is not what you run for, and that's what she's doing.
It sure as fuck is, dude. If you don't like the city manager, and the only way to fire the city manager is to be on city council and vote his ass off,
because the city manager didn't like the fact that her skills were not up to standard. Okay,
dude, she worked there for fucking days.
Huh?
She worked there for days, years. I'm using slang.
Okay, so she worked there for years. Okay, well, obviously
she just didn't get along with Steve Taylor. Like, I heard those words come out of her mouth before all this happened. It happened like a couple of years ago now. She was like, yeah, because I was like, when I was working at the mansion, the dude fucking...
So you're saying that you're supporting Nancy Malone?
I ain't saying I'm supporting Nancy Malone, but I am fucking telling you what I heard come out of her mouth when she was at point blank. Because dude was drunk. And he was being a fucking dick. Like,
that's
straight
good.
up.
That's good. But I have
and
the
he was like,
requests.
he's all,
have the file.
Why'd you get fired?
I mean,
he's like, why'd you get fired from fucking the city? And she's like, I didn't get fired. I stepped down. And he's like, why? And she's like, because I didn't get along with Steve Taylor.
She didn't step down.
And he was like, well, who's Steve Taylor? And I was like, the city manager.
This is the problem with Nancy Malone, is she lies to people. Okay?
She didn't step down, she got fired?
She was going to get fired if she didn't step down.
So she stepped down.
We didn't know. They came to an agreement that she would not work at the city anymore. She would not ever try to work for the city. But the thing is that if
you can't just I realize that you don't like the lady, but like that is still stepping down. Because if they're like step down or get fired, I'd be like, fire me, bitch, so I can get on.
You have to understand that I have nothing against her as a person. I'm talking about her performance. We did a records request. We have files this thick to talk about Nancy Malone. She's not who we want.
Where are these files at? Let's read that shit on the air. We have a pain in the ass time coming up with shit to talk about.
Lee White fucking posted a story on it. She did not work well at the city of Kelso.
What's he doing with
No, just wait. No. Let's get back to here. Okay. Her performance reviews were separated from her file because it was negative. She couldn't keep up. She couldn't use the new software. She didn't do her job. She didn't know how. That's not her fault. So instead, what did she do? She claimed age discrimination against his current, work, secretary, because that's who they hired. Because she was smarter.
Have you seen her?
And she knows how to use equipment, and she knows how to use software, and she knows how to get the job done. Nancy did not. Her performance showed it. She was shitty. And there are other things that are implied.
I can see claiming age discrimination when you look at the person that they fucking ended up hiring.
Somebody that was smarter, younger, and knew what they were doing.
Better, faster, stronger. Straight up hotter, dude. I'll just go ahead and say it because of Liberty, dude. That bitch is fucking hotter than Nancy Malone. Seriously.
I sat next to her at the state of the county address and got to talk to her and stuff like that. I said, wow. I leaned over at her one point and I looked at her. I leaned over to where she's at across the aisle and I go, I think we're the youngest people in the room. And she goes, welcome to my world. Yeah. I felt bad for her. So she has to be around the old grouchy, crotchety government people all day long. Anyway, so Daniel Baumfalk and I are going to go meet with John Rice, our abatement officer in Kelso tomorrow morning.
What for?
We're going to try to get
I fucking don't like abatement officers telling people fucking what to do with their goddamn property.
We're working with him on something else.
You need to...
Anyway, he's going to give us access. We're trying to get access to the dike up here behind the house. The houses up there, our houses over here. And because the people that, when they aren't at the shelter, they come down to the river, or they come down to the graffiti house, and they fucking shit up all their drugs and drop their needles. So last weekend we went down to the graffiti house and cleaned up all their shit. All the garbage and trash that they left behind.
That looks fucking planted.
Yeah, no, nothing was planted.
Do that.
It was the weed thing that Huffman couldn't let go. He was like, that's not a real pipe. I was like, no, it's a pop can. But they didn't use it. Somebody burnt it up and put it on there. And I swear to God, dude, I didn't find it. That's the way it was found, just like that. But if you did look at the can closer, you could see that they had used it. It's just, But anyway, they left all kinds. It's just disgusting. They're actually tunneling out underneath the building. And they're sleeping down there, and they're shitting down there, and they're putting all their garbage down there underneath it. So the city needs to go in there and fill it all in. They'll just try to dig it out again. But there's needles and for God's sakes, quit giving homeless people bottles of water. I know that sounds terrible, but they just fucking throw them everywhere. I mean, we got fucking 2 55-gallon garbage bags full of fucking plastic water bottles. And,
really?
Oh, God, it was terrible, dude. The nitrous things, the whippets, they fucking go through that. There's fucking tons of those. Black hair taro and foilies everywhere. And it's like that all the way up the riverside up here because I walk my dogs on the dike sometimes. And we walk down to the river and we take the trails up to see how bad the garbage is getting. And it's just disgusting.
These junkies need to pick up after themselves.
They won't.
You're going to be a junkie. Be a responsible junkie. You don't have to litter your shit. You can pick it up. You're gonna fucking nod out and whatnot, but I'd nod out. Pick up your shit.
No, they don't. They just leave it there.
I realize they don't. That's what the problem is.
Yeah. But so there's all kinds of needles up and down the side of the riverbank. We pick them up if we see them. There's all kinds of garbage. The garbage is disgusting. There's mattresses and just sacks and sacks and sacks of garbage. Shit from Safeway. Hot deli wrapper. It's terrible. So we're going to try to talk to John about getting a key to the dike so that we can get a vehicle up on the dike and not have to worry about trying to go over the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Because apparently they don't like that.
No. Thanks, government.
But that's not the government. That's the railroad tracks. That was the
fucking government sticking that stupid goddamn walkway on the other side of the fucking railroad tracks that you can't access, and then they didn't put a freaking access point in the middle of town. And they ended up putting an access point up, out in the county area.
It's crazy.
So people just cut holes in the fence.
Yeah, people just.
And then you got BNSF
all day long.
Cops showing up and being like, "You're trespassing on our property," which is true. The government gave you this fucking property. Eat a fucking dick. You guys probably paid pennies on the fucking pennies for it. Don't even get me started on the goddamn railroads and the fucking socialist government taking care of the railroads, and then them telling citizens that you can't step foot on their railroads, that our government totally... I'm not trying to get into that. But BNSF will tell you to get off their damn tracks. And there's only 3 access points to that whole stupid walkway that the city put in.
Yeah,
fucking dumb.
Yeah, the access is...
BNSF cops will tell you that it was stupid that the fucking city put that there. Because they're like, yeah, they didn't put enough access points in. And it's actually illegal to get onto the dike right here. You're trespassing.
Oh, you can't get on the dike either? Well, we can get on the dike.
You can't access the dike except for down the street right over here.
Right.
Way down in South Kelso, there's, I think, 2 spots. But, the place next to the police station... Which totally looks like it's a place to access the dike. They got a fucking picnic table there.
Right, yeah. People cross right there all the time.
Yeah.
There's no stopping that. I
do.
People. I've seen the cops.
The Kelso police don't do shit if you do, because they're like, for one thing, it's not their jurisdiction.
Right.
Because the BNSF police is their jurisdiction.
We parked down underneath the bridge on railroad property one of the times that we did a cleanup on the riverside. Down in the downtown Kelso area. We went down where the big switching yard is before the railroad station underneath the Cowlitz Way Bridge. I think that's the right one. Yes, underneath the Cowlitz. So we parked underneath there with all our cars out of the way. They weren't hurting anybody, and there's about 10 of our cars. And we went out and we walked across the tracks and we cleaned up all the garbage that was around in that area. And it was just disgusting. Again, that's where Lee found his first drug needle. He was so excited, he had it on a grabber. He's like, look, I found my first drug needle. And we'd have other people come out and go, look, we found our first drug needle. It's like they didn't believe us when we were telling them or showing them all the pictures of the drug.
I found my first drug needle when I was 8 years old. That shit was a serious problem while the fucking dope house was up the street cooking meth.
Yeah, dude, I didn't...
Raping little girls.
Listen, when I was younger, we didn't have
people that ran off with dope. And then the problem got solved once they were removed from the property. And it showed back up to fucking good old Love Overwhelming moved in down the street.
Oh, no. Everybody out there will tell you, especially Love Overwhelming supporters, they will tell you that our area had this...
Our area did have this problem, but you know what?
It didn't have this problem that bad in Kelso.
Yeah, not in that neighborhood.
Yeah, no. It's bringing people from out of town into our neighborhood. It's bringing drugs in. I don't care what people say. The place needs to be moved away from the daycares. It's not appropriate to have this
we got this mandate from the state.
Well, they were mandated coordinated entry program. Okay, they were not mandated Love Overwhelming. They were not mandated...
Yeah, this is the only one that's set up. The perfect solution to Love Overwhelming would be to just set up our own homeless shelter. Fill out the paperwork for the grant like the fucking people at the county told us to do. And then just use the free market as basically look, we'll just be a competing shelter. We'll just...
Do you realize what they could have done with $1.6 million? There's 400 and some homeless people in our area. 250 of them are currently housed. They're saying that there's 250 homeless people out there right now without a house in our area. We've looked for these people. We can't find them. I go by down the rivers all the time. I can't find them. I go over to Longview. I see some every once in a while. A friend of mine says he walks the lake every morning and he sees them sleeping in the bushes over there. But we are not seeing that many. The numbers are not accurate. Somebody's fudging the numbers here. The Daily News posted a couple of months that homeless population was going down in our county, and then Love Overwhelming turned around and says it's trying to say that it's up by 50-some% since they've opened up. Well, no shit, dumb fuck. That's because you opened up and you told everybody in the world to come here. But yeah, he's not responsible for bringing all these people from out of town. Oh, and they aren't coming here from out of town. You go down to the shelter and you ask somebody where they're from. It's not from Kelso.
Yeah.
Very few of them are from Kelso. They're from somewhere else. They're from Seaside, or they're from California, or they aren't from here, man. The ones that are from here, they get help other ways. Plus, according to Entered Entry, if you want rent help, you have to go to Love Overwhelming to get that. So people that aren't even homeless have to take their family into that setting to try they don't get fucking stabbed, because there was a stabbing down there a couple of weeks ago. One chick stabbed another chick.
That's
I mean, all this shit, it's all appropriate to happen between, next to the daycare centers. Nobody has a problem with that. It's okay. The kids are fine. It won't affect them. It won't hurt them. Meanwhile, parents are snapping pictures of guys fucking pissing out in the parking lot and everywhere else while their kids are watching. I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. Anyway. So what's going on now? What are you doing over there?
I'm trying to get ready to play a song.
Oh, yeah.